Let's begin lecture. Good, 4 minutes, a lot faster than last time. Welcome back. You have your clickers on. We're going to do some clicking in just a second. If you look at the outline, you can see that we'll talk about planets a little bit today, but mostly we'll be finishing up the syllabus, and then I'll give you a homework assignment. And I know everybody loves to have homework, so let's get to it. First, let's get some practice iClicker 2 questions. If you have not used it yet, what you do is you press the power button down and hold it for like 2 seconds. And then the rectangle in the upper left of the screen will flash. And when you get that to flash, type in D and then D again. Delta, delta. And that's our frequency code. All right? And then when you do that, you should get a very brief message that says go nitro, and then I think it says ready. Okay? You'll get a little check mark and then go nitro, and then it'll say ready. And that'll be good. All right? Who saw the go nitro message? Okay, good. All right, well let's give it a shot here. Let's see. All right, here's your first highly scientific astronomy question for the day. Go ahead and vote. And I think I'm going to vote too. And for those of you that are curious, we will we'll probably dismiss maybe 5 minutes early today, so you can come up and check with me, check the roster to see if your iClicker is registered or something, just to double check. Because clicking and getting a check mark from voting in class does not signify that you're registered. Okay, but I'll check at the roster and we'll be able to see it after we complete these clicking items. Okay, 92 people voted. 10 seconds to vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, good. Let me just take a look at the... Well, we got some pretty interesting results there. For some reason, somebody voted for E. Wait a minute, somebody voted for C. That's Justin Bieber. No. You wise guys in the back, gosh. Anyways, let me switch back to the regular display. Actually, the answer to this is A. Bruce Lee. Many of you voted for Chuck. Now, normally that would be a correct answer, except when Bruce Lee is on the list. And in 1972, Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris made a movie called Way of the Dragon. And Chuck Norris got beat up, in the movie anyways, and by Bruce Lee. So it's kind of an interesting. The one guy that's tougher than Chuck Norris, although currently Bruce Lee is dead. He died, 30 years ago or something, 40 years ago. Yeah, but he's the man. Okay, now, I pointed out that a few of you voted for E. Can you see that? Okay. Don't point yourself out, because I'm about to ask you guys if you can see how that is, option E is actually like an IQ test failure. Can you see it? I mean, not to be insulting, but can you see? All of the above includes none of the above. What? And you know what? And the reason I put that on there is because I did that once. I wrote this big, gigantic astronomy test, and that was, one of the options that I put on there. And my TA said, Dr. B, I don't think this is actually a good option, but it was already printed up, so there's nothing to do about it. So anyway, it's good. All right, now, next question, question number 2, is a regular astronomy question. And, we'll be done with the Chuck Norris practice questions after Labor Day, but go ahead, read this carefully and vote. And what I say to one, I say to all. On my clicker questions, on my homework questions, on my exam questions, read carefully and think. Read carefully and think. 10 seconds to vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Good. We got one more person voting. And yeah, most of you got the correct answer here, and but a bunch of you didn't. And let's take a look at why that is the correct answer, and why Pluto is not on the list. Back in 2006, go ahead and make a note. This is astronomy picture of the day. Almost 11 years ago, August 26, 2006. You can go look this one up. They got all the APOD days. They're all on the internet. They're all stored at NASA. And back in that day, or back in that summer, there was a meeting of the International Astronomical Union, and they decided to reclassify Pluto as a dwarf planet because they had started finding objects way out past Neptune in what we call the Kuiper Belt, where there's mostly comets. They had found some really big objects, and this one marked down on the lower right, 2003 UB 313, is pretty big. And there's some objects out there that are bigger than Pluto. Since 2006, we've found more of them out there. And then this one here, Ceres, this is actually the biggest asteroid, and it's located between Mars and Jupiter in the asteroid belt. The Kuiper Belt is a lot like the asteroid belt, except the Kuiper Belt is made of stuff that's mainly ice. Ice is of methane ice and water ice and CO2 ice, whereas the asteroid belt is more rocky objects, but they do form a belt similar to the Kuiper Belt. Now, I want to review with you some test-taking strategy because I want you to remind you of a common test-taking strategy that will help you and even if it helps you on 1 or 2 points on the test, that can be the 1 or 2 points that gives you a B instead of a C, an A instead of a B, a C instead of a D instead of an F. So let's look at these options. And the one that you always want to remember on my exam and on every exam is, if you're completely stumped, try to reject some of the options, all right? And then make a guess, all right? Now, let's say you don't know whether D is correct or not, or any of them. But let's say that you do know that Pluto is not a planet. Well, if that's the case, then this item up on, item A, cross that off the list, all right? Similarly, B also has Pluto on the list. So if you don't know the exact order, you can at least cross off those two. Now you're down to guessing 1 out of 3 instead of guessing 1 out of 5. All right? So that will help you. If you also know that the moon is not a planet, then you can eliminate option C. And actually, you can, for the same reason, eliminate option E. All right? And so if you can do that, the only one left is option D, and that's the correct one. So as I say, especially when you're taking exams and you only have one shot, read carefully and think. And when you're thinking, if you get stumped, remember to try this strategy. Eliminate. And my question, just so you know, my exams, I hate trick questions. All right, so I'm not going to write a trick question on any of my exams. Now, you may feel that they're trick questions, but or difficult. You may feel it's just a difficult question, and that, I guarantee you'll find some tough questions that really make you think. But as far as, like having some really subtle difference that, is easy to get tricked on, no, I'm not going to do that. Because I hated those when I was a student. So, and there's much more important things for me to test you on than trick questions. So you'll never see a trick question. And what I'm telling you is, if you get stumped, you'll always be able to at least get a shot at the correct answer, even if you've done a little bit of the normal amount of studying, you should be able to eliminate at least 2 or 3, maybe all, except the right answer. All right? So keep that in mind. All right? On my exams, you'll find that there's going to be some brain burner questions in there. They really make you think, so that even if you've studied everything, come to office hours, read extra at looked at astronomy picture of the day every day and thought about it, talked about it, you're still going to find it challenging to get 100%. It might be fairly easy for you to get 95% on a test, but to get all of them correct, it'll be a challenge. And yet, you'll also find plenty of basic questions, so that if you do the normal amount of studying, it shouldn't be too grievous to get a decent grade, like a 70%. All right? And you'll see, the first exam, everybody's always nervous, but after the first exam, you'll see what my exams are like, and you'll understand what I just told you. All right? Now, on exams, we're also going to be using iClickers from time to time. And the reason for that is the iClicker 2 that you're to use in this class permits you to type in a numeric answer. So like 9.73, like for the mass of the sun or something like that, some number. You can type it in with this clicker. Now, we've only done multiple choice so far, but yeah, you can do, and the good thing about that is, if I make the clicker item on the test a 2-pointer or a 3-pointer, I can also give partial credit, because it's very efficient for me to look at everybody's answer and decide, they rounded off wrong. Or, they forgot to divide by 2, or something like that. And I'll give partial credit for that, which you cannot do. I mean, you can't type in a number on a Scantron anyway, and you certainly can't give partial credit on Scantron exams. So, yeah, definitely you want to get your iClicker registered. So let's talk about how that works. All right, you've used it again today, and oh my goodness. Is your thing falling apart? Or is that the battery compartment? Dude, don't fool around with your... that does bring up an issue. If you bought a new one, you should immediately replace the El Cheapo batteries in there and put in some Energizers or some Duracells. Because those ones that come with the iClicker itself, they're so cheap, and I have seen any number of times, a student on an exam, Dr. B, my batteries, just gave out on me. What am I going you're SOL. Which is that's a Latin phrase, like that means toast in Latin. So you don't want to be in that position on a test. So just go get yourself some Duracells or Energizers and you'll be good. You also want to register. Now you are not to use iClicker.com. You are to use web courses only. And this is where you click. Up here on the upper left, inside our web courses area, you click the iClicker button up there, and it will take you to a page here. And what you do here is you type in the serial number, which is printed in these little teeny letters by the barcode on the back. So you got to just about take a microscope out, unless you have supersonic or X-ray vision or something like that. But they're really teeny, but they're on the back. Also, the serial number actually flashes on the screen when you turn it on, but not long enough for you to write it down. So, but it's always on the back. If you can't see it on the back, if you got a used one and the numbers are rubbed off or something, you can see it when you turn it on. Okay, take a couple times and write it down. So you type that in up here in this box where it says remote ID. Yeah, my screen grab is kind of shaky here. And then you type in your email address, so whatever your email address at knights.ucf.edu, and then you hit the return button, and then when it registers, you'll get this little gray box down here, and it'll say your remote ID, your clicker ID, and then the date that it's registered, and then the country. I don't know why they put the country in there, but anyways, you'll see that little gray box, and then you'll know, ching, I'm ready. I'm registered. All right. Now, some of you already have, about 30 of you already have a bonus point from being registered on Tuesday. Excellent. Now, everybody that's registered today and who clicked in today's session, you'll get a bonus point too. And everybody that already got one on Tuesday, you'll get another one today. All right. So, you know what? We're only going to get 3 bonus points because, wait a minute. Yeah, we're only going to get 3 bonus points Tuesday, today, and next Tuesday, because next Thursday, no class. Football game in the night. So UCF is closing. All classes are canceled at 1. Yeah, so go to the football game, and anyway, so if you were registered today before class, I'll know about it, and you can come up after class today if we dismiss a few minutes early and double check. It's easy to do as soon as I download the file, and you'll get a bonus point. All right. Now, any questions about registering iClicker 2? Yes. The question was, can you use an older version or do you have to use iClicker 2? The answer is you have to use iClicker 2. The older version, the iClicker regular or iClicker 1, does not have numeric input. Okay, it only has A, B, C, D, E. All right, and we need the ability, and the difference that you can see is it has a display screen. You could actually type in words in a little. You could probably type in a haiku if you're really good, okay, with this. So yeah, that's what you need. And we're not going to be using, a student asked me on messaging in web courses, Dr. B, are we going to use REEF? R-E-E-F? And the answer to that is N-O. We're not going to do that either. Okay, just the regular iClicker 2. Question? If you register tonight, will you get bonus points? You mean like right after class?
Yeah, I'm probably going to buy one.
Well, depends on if I feel like being a nice guy, but it's possible that I'm going to do it, round up the bonus points right after class. But go ahead and do it. You might catch me napping and get that bonus point. Well, I mean, I got, I have like 660. Do you know that I have 1% of the entire student body? I have 661 students. And that includes you guys, my morning class, and my online class. It's pretty amazing. So I sometimes try to get stuff done right after this class, but sometimes it doesn't happen on that schedule. So you might catch a break. Another question. Yes, in the back.
Can you demonstrate how to input numbers on the iClicker?
I will when we get to it. Probably after Labor Day. We'll probably do just straight multiple choice until Labor Day, and after that we'll start doing some numeric stuff. Probably. I'll show you how to. It's not hard. You know what it works like. It works like one of these little stinky track phones that to type in a text message, you have to hit the 2 button 3 times, and then you have to hit the 5 button twice, and you get different letters and stuff. So that's how it works. It works good though, and I'll show you how to do it. So don't worry about that. Any other question back here? Your hands up? No, you're faking me out. Okay. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Samuel. Yeah.
Yes. I have a question for the exam. Can you also take extra batteries with you?
On the exam, you can take extra batteries. Yes, of course.
Okay.
Good. The only thing you can't bring you can't use on the exam is a cell phone. All right. Regular, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Okay, let's go to the syllabus. And actually, I forgot my syllabus. Do you have a syllabus that I could borrow? Can you believe that? I forgot a syllabus. Who's got a Samuel? Thank you. All right, I got one. Yeah.
We needed the brown scantrons, right? Or the pink ones?
I'll go over that. The pink ones, yeah, the raspberry. Yeah, the raspberry colored ones. All right, let me get some light up here. Oh no, I guess I'll make do with this. All right. Okay, policies. Let's just go through this. All general UCF policies apply, especially Golden Rule and the UCF Creed. So those two parts of UCF institutional procedures, those encode like academic integrity and stuff like that. All right. Federal surveillance, I think we already talked about that. That's homework 0. Homework 0, whoa. Hold on. Homework 0. I put my paper on this. Gosh. Hold on a second. All right, let's keep going. Okay, homework 0 is meant to be your attendance quiz for the first week. And notice that we haven't had a lot of studying and homework this first week. And that's because, especially in a big class like this, there's a lot of adds and drops and stuff like that. So we try to keep things light the first week and then bear down after that. But really, if you have 37 attempts on homework 0, I think. But so you can pretty much guarantee getting full points. It's only a 1-question quiz. And but if you only, if you still keep getting it wrong on all 37 attempts, don't worry, because what they're really looking for is not your score for attendance, but your clicks. So even if you keep getting the wrong one, Robert, you're still gonna be good as long as you click. So get that done by tomorrow night if you haven't already, and I know a bunch of you have. So, and if you haven't done it, just get that squared away, and the federales will be HAPPY, happy. All right. Let's talk about the various tasks that you must accomplish in order to acquire points for your semester grade. We got 260 points total. 45 of them will come through class participation with the iClicker. All right, and I'll explain more about that in a few minutes. 10 points from homework. So there's not going to be an enormous amount of homework. But homework and class participation add up to 55 points. So that's a fair chunk of change. The midterm exams are each 35 points. We'll keep the best 3, so that's 105. And then the final is 100 points, and everybody's going to be taking that. And that's not one where we don't take the best 3 out of 4 and drop your final. It's best 3 out of 4 midterms, and everybody takes the final. So that's 260 points. All right. Now, what's not on this is bonus point activity, like from early iClicker registration. Right. So that goes. If you think of your grade as a percentage, the denominator is 260 at the end of the semester, anyways. And bonus points go into the numerator, but they don't change the denominator. Okay, so missing out on a bonus point doesn't hurt you, but getting it definitely does help you. Question?
Yes, I think Tuesday talked about giving bonus points for
Bonus points for
Night Under the Stars.
Oh, Night Under the Stars. I don't know how much I'm going to give you, but it'll be a decent piece of. A lot of you guys are going to get A's because you go to the public viewings, Nights Under the Stars. And, I love to see students go because no matter what happens, you're going to learn a ton. Way more than listen to me, my big mouth up here, for 3 hours a week. Just seriously, going out there and actually looking at the stars, there's nothing that beats that. Question?
How would you like us to confirm that we went tonight under the stars?
Question, how would I like you to confirm that you went tonight under the stars? I'll tell you about that when we start doing it, okay? But there's a method for it. Do you have a question? Okay. Yeah, and when that starts going up, and I might talk about it next Tuesday, because they won't be having anything this week, but next Tuesday maybe. And they run that on Wednesdays, and so Tuesdays I'll be giving you guys instructions on that. Okay, we'll talk more about grades in a minute. Let's talk about the textbook. It is a free textbook. If you bought a book in the bookstore, you bought a book that is used for a different section. For us, we use this free textbook at openstacks.org. And it's down, I believe, down in Houston, where they publish this. And it's what you do here is you go over to here. It says View Online, and that's what I use. But you can actually download a PDF if you want, and then you have it on your your laptop or your desktop in your dorm room and whatnot. You can actually order a print copy. And I might actually do that just to see how it works. It's pretty inexpensive. It's definitely not like getting something at the bookstore, like $150 for a book. And then they buy it back for $15. And then they sell the used one for $90. Yeah. So they're not your friend over there. When they're off duty, they may be your friend, but not when it's in there. It's not personal. It's strictly business. So anyways, those guys are a bunch of bandits most of the time. You can actually download if you have the iBooks application on your phone and I'm going to do that. I have iBooks on my laptop and my cell phone, so I'm going to try that. So here's what it looks like, the introduction. And what I like is you go up here to this tab, this button over here for the contents, and you click on that, and you get the table of contents, and you click into any section that you want. Kind of like on ebooks. It is an ebook, I guess. Yeah. And so it works pretty good. And your reading assignment this weekend is going to include a little bit from Chapter 5. So go ahead and make a note of that in your notes. Yeah, Dr. B is going to be giving you some reading over the weekend in Chapter 5 and maybe some of the other chapters as well. And this is my first time using this book, so I'm just a few steps ahead of you guys. All right? And we'll try to have some good reading assignments. And but yeah, Chapter 5, you can just go and start skimming through that, because basically Chapter 5 is about spectra, and we looked at spectra on Tuesday. All right, so you'll be able to savvy quite a bit of Chapter 5 now that you've participated in that demonstration 2 days ago. All right, now questions about the textbook. Over by the far wall.
Is there any particular pages in chapter 5 you want to read?
Not yet, but I'm going to publish an assignment either tonight or tomorrow morning, and I will lay out some sections for you. But for right now, until I do that, you just skim around. So if because you'll have a fairly good grasp on what they're talking about there in Chapter 5, and so you can just skim. If you see something that's interesting, you just read up on it. But tomorrow, yeah, you'll have an explicit assignment. Did you have a question?
I didn't. So this is not edX, this is OpenStax.
This is OpenStax, and yeah, actually, and it links to this cnx.org, so that's another website. But the access point is openstax.org. All right. All right. Let's see. Let's talk about accommodations. Let me just read this one from the page. The University of Central Florida is committed to providing reasonable accommodations for all persons with disability. Dr. Brickner, that's me, shares the same commitment. Students with disabilities who need accommodations must be registered with Student Accessibility Services over in Farrell Commons, room 185, the SAS. And they're pretty good. There's a couple phone numbers there that you can use. You have to do that before requesting accommodations from me. Students who are registered with SAS and need accommodations in Astronomy 2002 must contact Dr. Brickner at the beginning of the semester. So that's your professor letter that they'll send out for you. And to discuss in the letter needed accommodations. No accommodations will be provided until the student has met with the professor to request accommodations. We will use the Knights Access System. And if this applies to you, just know that we have students every semester using SAS for exams and stuff, and other things, like note-taking and whatnot. And it works great, and we'll just get it going, and, things will go. But you got to get your paperwork in the pipeline. And once you do that, then and every exam, you got to make a request to take the exam over there and stuff like that. But it works really good. All right. All right, exam schedule. Here it is, and we've already talked about it. September 12th, October 3rd, October 24th, November 14th. That is not right. That's the morning section. You guys are December 9th at 1 p.m. I'm sorry, I modified some of this from the morning, but I forgot to modify that.
On the same.
It's on your it's correct on your syllabus. It's just not. It's what I'll correct this before I upload it to YouTube. Anyway, the exams.
It's December 5th at 1 o'clock, correct?
Yeah, it's the what did I say? December 9th. No, December 9th is a Saturday. Yeah, so December 5th. Yeah, whatever it says on this syllabus is good. Now, I want you to think of these exams, this schedule, very, very carefully. And let me just read this. It's pretty important. This examination schedule is like a contract. We will stick to it. Because there are so many students in each section, we keep everything simple. No makeup exams, no early exams, no late exams. Only exams on this schedule. Now, each midterm exam is on a Tuesday, so you have the entire preceding weekend to prepare. Now, let me make a point to you. If you have an excused absence, like you're in the doctor, you're in the hospital, getting a brain transplant or something, or anything else that puts you in the hospital, you may be excused for any kind of serious hospital stay, but you still won't get a makeup exam. That's going to be your dropped exam. And that's what is explained in the next few paragraphs here. At UCF, academics comes first. Attendance at examinations is mandatory. There will be no makeup examinations. University excused absences exist only for religious observances, intercollegiate activities and athletics, and university verified family or medical emergency. Okay, religious observances is like Rosh Hashanah or something like that. Okay, although we don't have any conflict with that this semester, I think we're pretty good on that. University verified family or medical. Well, medical, is like you're in the emergency room or something. A family emergency is like if there's a hurricane. And just to point out exactly how that would work, let me review the year 2004. Raise your hand if you were in Florida in the year 2004 when Charlie, Francis, and Jeannie went through. All right, good. That's a lot of yous. Raise your hand if you were in Lake Wales in 2000. One person, and you guys got hit, all three of them. Hit hard. Lake Wales, they really got pounded. All right. Now, in that fall semester, Charlie came through right before the semester and messed up everything. And then Francis and then Jeannie, and even though the hurricanes were well past Orlando, we were still dealing with the aftermath of it days later in the following week. For instance, that semester, I can't remember what class it was, but I had a big section like this, and we had a midterm. And I think it was Jeannie went through, like the week before the midterm, and I got a phone call. I was in my office by some miracle, and I got a phone call and talked to a student, and, Dr. B, I can't make it to the exam today. I said, well, is everything okay? Are you in the hospital? No, man. I live up in Deltona. My house is surrounded by water from Jeannie. So he's totally surrounded by water. Because of St. John River, Sometimes that goes up, to flood stage, to the highest level of flood stage days after the storm. So if something like that happens, we'll make decisions at that time. Okay? And many of you will have to raise your hand if your hometown and your folks are in South Florida somewhere, like Fort Lauderdale. Okay, see, that's a bunch of you. You guys will have to scamper down there, a lot of you, to go help your mom and dad. Raise your hand if you're from maybe Jacksonville or Tallahassee area. Okay, if you guys get hit up there, your folks might say, Junior, you got to get home and help out. All right? And if that's the case, that's legitimate. Okay? So that's what it means by a family emergency. So a family emergency is not, my second cousin's wedding. That's not a family. But a hurricane, helping out your folks is definitely legit. Okay? All right. Weddings, plane tickets that your parents got on Priceline.com, etc., do not count as legitimate excuses. Therefore, plan your semester accordingly. And what I say to one, I say to all. There's a guy in the back of the room last morning session. I don't know if I can make all the exams, Dr. B. And that what I said to him applies to everybody. If you know that you will not be able to make all the examinations, you should drop the course now. It's only Thursday. You can still drop it. And take it during spring semester when things clear up in your schedule. All right? For those of you that have off-campus jobs, and I know that's a lot of you, that's one of the things I really love about UCF, just get your schedule clear with your BOSS, especially the final. Because that's going to be a 3-hour block of time. Plus you got to drive. I know a lot of you guys drive up from Poinciana and Popkin stuff, quite a drive, and it takes time to get here. Then 3 hours for the final, and then an hour, 45 minutes to get back to your job and stuff. So it's definitely something for the final that you've got to keep squared away. Next paragraph, bottom right. It is physics department policy. So this paragraph is supposed to be in every physics department syllabus. Physics department policy that making up missed work will only be permitted for university-sanctioned activities and bona fide medical or family reasons. Authentic justifying documentation must be provided in every case, and it must be provided in advance for university-sanctioned activities. So if you're on a sports team or a debate team or anything like that, your advisor or your coach will give you something called a program verification form, and that'll have all your travel dates. Now, if you miss a lecture, you don't have to make an excused absence for that. It's only if you miss an exam. Because you can get the lecture, I'm recording this, it'll be on YouTube in an hour. So if you miss the lecture, you can just hit YouTube and catch up on things. You won't be able to click, but you'll be able to listen to everything we talk about. So missing a lecture is no, you want to be here for as many as possible, of course, but if you miss a regular lecture, you don't have to get an excuse from the doctor or anything like that. But an exam, yes, you definitely do. All right, next page. At the discretion of the instructor, the makeup may take any reasonable and appropriate form, including but not limited to the following. A replacement exam, replacing the missed work with the same score as a later exam. Allowing a dropped exam, replacing the missed work with the homework or quiz average. And for us, the underlined section is what we will do, allowing a dropped exam. So if you miss an exam, whether it's excused or unexcused, that'll be effectively a 0, and that'll be the one that we drop. And we'll take your other 3 midterms. Now, God forbid something happens on the final. Usually things go pretty well in the final, but midterms, you do have some leeway. If you miss one, you better be there for the other 3. All right. Cheating. Yeah, in terms of, you're liable to punishment up to and including expulsion from UCF. We've done that. And let me just point out an example that I talked about in the morning class. Authentic justifying documentation from the previous page, bottom right. I had a student come up to me at the end of a semester a few years ago, and my grandmother died. I have to go to the funeral up in Tallahassee or Atlanta or something. And she said, I'll send you the funeral announcement. I said, okay, well, we'll check it out. And I always check it out, or I have somebody check it out. So what she sent me was this really nice envelope, and inside it had, where the name of her grandma and where the funeral was, the day, the time to go there and stuff, the address of the funeral home and everything. And so I said, oh, okay, here it is. And then I thought, wait a minute. Usually I get like a clipping from the newspaper or a photocopy from the newspaper, something like that. And I thought, this looks like a wedding announcement, And And so I showed it to a couple other students, and they said, Dr. B, that looks like a wedding announcement. Because it had really fancy script writing, and all, kind of little do that. And I thought, I better check this out really. So I called the funeral home. Her grandmother worked at the funeral home and wasn't dead. But, and you guys are laughing, and it is kind of funny now. But, for that student, she got punished. We put her through the discipline procedure for doing that. That was serious cheating. And, I love students, and I enjoy teaching and stuff, but not that. I don't have any patience with that. And it'll be like a ton of chain falling on you if you get caught doing that. So don't do it.
So that's considered cheating?
Yeah.
Like lie,
Yeah. She tried to tell me something to get out of taking the final. So, and that's why I always emphasize there's only this final. There's only this schedule. There's no, so don't even try to weasel, I'm not going to look at anybody, but everybody thinks, oh, I'll sweet talk Dr. B. No. No, it's just too, it's the big class this size. I mean, just look. This is 300 people in here, pretty close. It's just not a doable thing. I mean, if we had a class of 20, maybe I could think about it, but not in this class. All right, so the exam schedule. All right, exam procedure. Now, some of you asked about this. The raspberry colored Scantron is what you want. Bring a number 2 pencil. Bring a good eraser. What you want to do is get one of these pink erasers like what you used in second grade, one of these jobs. And then it won't tear the Scantron when you try to erase, and it won't smudge the dots. So get a good eraser, number 2 pencil, of course. The Scantrons, if you're new here to UCF, is this your first semester? You're a newbie. Apparently, you could go to the SGA office on the second floor of the student union and get 1 free Scantron per day. So, and you can buy them in a packet of 6. And we only have 5 exams to take, so you'll have 1 backup that you can sell at the final exam if somebody shows up. Oh, Dr. B, I forgot. And you could sell to them for $1, or whatever. Or just give it to them. Anyways, so these are the ones. Now, in the School of Business, they have the brown Scantrons. Different shape, different size. And they have their own Scantron machine over there. Okay? Now, raise your hand if you're a business major or you're taking a class in business. Okay, that's a good number. You guys got to be careful. Do not come with a brown one. Only for us, the raspberry colored ones. Okay? All right? And they have the UCF Pegasus logo on there, so it's not like, hard to, it's not easy to make a mistake. Okay, calculator. Where did I put well, here's a picture of the calculator. That's just like the one I have. Yeah, if it has a square root key, it should be fine. And if you have this one, it will also handle scientific notation. And we'll probably use a little bit of scientific notation. But we don't have we don't use trig we use Pythagorean theorem a little bit. Okay? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And then after that, we don't really do any trig. And let me... So if you have a fancy calculator, like a graphing calculator, you can bring that. What you cannot use is the calculator on your phone, because you may not have your phone out, your iPhone or your cell phone, during the test. That's considered cheating. All right? So on test day, you'll put your cell phone in your pocket, turn it off, and put it in your pocket. And if you forget your regular calculator, like that one up there, $15 at Walmart or Came Apart or the bookstore. If you forget that and you can't use your cell phone, you're down to pencil and paper, it won't kill you. You should be all right. Because our exams, if you look at them, they're 35 points each. Now, normally I have an exam, 1 question per minute. All right? But we have 80 minutes in here. Our exams this semester, I'm making them smaller and more of them. Okay, there's 4 instead of 3. So we're having 35 items on each midterm, 80 minutes to do it. There's not going to be much time pressure. So if you have to do 5th grade long division on pencil and paper for your test, it'll be a pain in the you know what, but you'll be all right. You'll survive it. And then the next test, you'll make sure to bring your calculator. All right, so that's how that works. All right. Now, a couple other things about the exams. Let me make sure I go over this with you. No cell phones are allowed. As is customary, if you take all 4 and now I'm reading from the middle of the left column on the second side. As is customary, if you take all 4 midterm exams, we will drop the lowest score and keep the best 3. Most students will be at all 4 midterms, and this is highly desirable. If you miss an exam due to absence, either excused or unexcused, that is effectively a 0 and will be the exam score that is dropped. And then the other 3 exams that you do take will be your best 3 scores because they are your only 3 scores. Okay, I do not give exams, I do not give makeup exams, neither late nor early, only the exams on the schedule. All right? Now, it behooves you to do your utmost to get in here. So if you take a spill playing football and you're hobbling around on crutches, get in here and take the test. If you're in the emergency room and you have to ride a wheelchair up to campus, get in here and we'll just wheel you down. We'll put you in one of these seats up here in the front, no problems. If you have to, get a helicopter to, lower you by ropes, we'll pull apart the roof and lower you into the lecture hall, we'll do that. All right? You want to do your utmost to be here for all 4. Do not slack. And, usually I say I'm not looking at anybody, but now I am looking at everybody. Do not slack. Be here for all 4 exams, and that'll really help you. It's because you definitely want to have the luxury of dropping 1 stinky exam grade if you happen to have a bad one. Okay, the final exam is cumulative, mandatory, and cannot be dropped. All right, so everybody will be there. You're well advised to make sure your schedule is clear on Tuesday, December 5th until supper time or so. So we'll start at 1 o'clock and we go to 3:50, so that's almost 4 o'clock. So, and then give yourself a half hour or even more to get up to campus and then to leave campus. It's going to be supper time before you can do anything. Do not schedule airline tickets, cruises, or work at your off-campus job until well after 4 p.m. I have first priority on your time until 3:50 p.m., and I never budge. And that is the case. One semester I had a student, and she said, Dr. B, I can't make the final exam. I have a part-time job. And it's really important that I get to it. And so I asked her, well, what's your part-time job? Well, I have a part-time job as a hula dancer in Hawaii. So we still made her take the final. I told my boss, she's got this job in Hawaii. She's a hula dancer. He said, no. So we're pretty tough about it. Although that would have been kind of cool. Yeah, I gave her a break. She's a hula dancer, but no, I didn't give her a break. And we'll just stick to the schedule, and everything will be good. All right. So questions about exams? Yeah, right here.
Have another exam at the same time.
Okay, thank you for asking that. If you have an exam that's in conflict with this, which isn't supposed to happen, but sometimes it does. What you want to do is have your instructor in that other class contact me, Dr. Brickner, through UCF email, and then he and I, or she and I, will work out a plan. And usually we can figure out a strategy to get you to take both exams without being like, coming out of there like, a zombie or something like that. So. And I know, I remember the old day, back in the day, exam week is tough. But something like that will, So do you have a conflict?
Yeah, I have a class that ends at 1:15, so I come right here.
Yeah. Well, just have your instructor, will talk to me, and by the time final exam week rolls around in December, we'll have something figured out. And that's what and I've done it many times, so that's normal. Another question. Would you guys like to, dismiss early today, a few minutes? Raise your hand if you want to give me $20. No. Raise your hand if I was going to say, the reason I say, we're not dismissing yet. We still have some things to do. I'm just checking. We got a few things to go through. But I saw this guy back over here before I even said raise your hand if he had his hand up. So raise your hand if this is the last class of the week for you. Good. All right, so hopefully we still got about 5-10 minutes. So let's keep going. Okay, homework. You'll have some homework this weekend. Here's the homework page. Let me blow that up for you. All right? So right now, there's only homework 0. We're not going to have a ton of homework, but when we do, it's going to be on this page. All right? And so your homework assignment this weekend is going to be posted on this page. It'll be homework 1. By lunchtime tomorrow, if not sooner. So just be ready for that. Be a little bit of reading in the book, and then maybe a few questions. Okay, grade scale. And iClicker 2. Now, we've already talked about iClicker 2, but let me mention to you that there's one thing that is not on the slide here, but is important to mention. The iClicker 2 is a participation grade. So that means, and I have it set up, so that if you answer 85% of all the iClicker questions, like the 2 today, and however many more we have this semester, if you answer 85% of them correct or incorrect, you'll get all 45 points for your semester grade. All right? And that is mentioned here on the back side of the syllabus. If you get less, so let's say that we have 100 questions exactly, starting the Tuesday after Labor Day and finishing up after Thanksgiving. And if you answer 85 of those 100, you get all 45 points automatically. If you answer fewer than 85%, then we have to scale it proportionally, and the proportion is here on the syllabus. Now, in about a month and a half, I'll show you how to do that. You can read about it now. And in a month and a half, when we start thinking about the end of the semester, towards the end of October, I will be thinking about the end of the semester and exams and stuff. I'll show you how to do all this stuff, okay? But suffice it to say that the clicking is for participation. Even if you get all 85 questions incorrect, you'll still get 45 points because you're participating. All right, the grade scale we already talked about. It's based on 260. At the end of the semester, when we have all 260 points on the books, including the final, then I go by the middle column, the points column. So there's no rounding off or anything like that. Before that, before the final, we only have 160 points or fewer on the books, but you can still go by a percentage of that at any point. And in the middle of October, I'll start showing you how to do that. I'll show you how to do the clicking points and estimate your grade status as if we were doing semester grades that day in mid-October. All right? Question over here.
So if I get 194 points, I still have a C?
That's correct. If you get 100, the question was, if I get 194 points, I still have a C? That's correct. Okay? You've got to get the pointage. Now, that B is a pretty generous B from what I hear. 75%. All right? So, and that's just the traditional grade scale in this class that they told me to use back when I first started, and we still use it. All right. So, any questions about grade scale stuff? Yeah, one more.
If we answer all the 100 of the iClicker 2 participation points, do we get extra for doing more than just the required 5?
If you answer more than 85%, no. So it's the iClicker 85% factor is meant to give you, like 1 or 2 lectures, for a dentist appointment or, whatnot. Or you forget your clicker or something like that. All right? So it's meant to be, give you a little bit of leeway. Also, I don't think it's on the syllabus, but I traditionally, I keep track of how many you answer right or wrong, and I also keep track of how many you answer correct. If you answer 75% of the questions correctly, you get 4 bonus points at the end of the semester. And then if you have 194 and then you get those 4 bonus points, ching, you get a B. All right? So you'll have bonus point opportunities along the way, and one of them is so you want to answer as many as you can, and you want to answer as many correctly as you can. So you can't just go, keep your eyes closed and just click A. Yeah, you'll get 45 points, but you won't get any bonus points from that. All right? All right, let's dismiss early. Look for the homework page tomorrow by lunchtime. Come up to the front if you want to check that your clicker is registered, and I'll check it in just a minute. Let me shut down this. Form a line over here.